FPL Game Week 35 transfer targets. Double Game Week 36 was announced yesterday, so now we have a proper outline on how the rest of the season looks. So in today's video, we're going through the Vert verified watch list, my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions, a bit on trip strategy, and a wildcard draft as well at the end of the video if you want to just skip to that as well. I've still got my wildcard and my bench boost, so we'll be discussing how to use that. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe, and let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, and as you'll see very soon, they did go green. But we just want to discuss the news that was released yesterday that double Game Week 36 is in fact happening. It's going to happen between Manchester City and Crystal Palace, so those will be the two teams that will be doubling in Game Week 36. So just a quick talk on chip strategy. So if you've still got your triple captain, I do think Game Week 36 is the best week to use it. If you want to go for a bit of a puntier strategy, you could maybe go for Gyökeres, although I do think, and if you've been watching the Premier League this season, I'm not sure, picking Gyökeres over Haaland is a great idea, but, he has been eating against the promoted teams this season anyway. I think he scored against all of them, actually. He's definitely scored against Burnley. He scored at Burnley for sure. He scored 2 against Leeds, and then who's the other promoted team? Sunderland. He got 2 against Sunderland as well, didn't he? So yeah, maybe you want to score against Burnley, but yeah, I'd be backing Haaland in this one. Then if you got your bench boost like me, I would be wildcarding this week and then bench boosting in the following week. But if you've still got all 3, so the wildcard, triple captain and bench boost, I'd wildcard this week for sure. Triple captain with Haaland and then bench boost 37. And then yeah, if you've still got your free hit, then maybe you just use the free hit to get the doublers in. But that's what I think for the trip strategy. That's what I'd be doing for the rest of the season. So into the goalkeepers, I would actually be going with Raya, number 1 still. But if you're wildcarding like me, I would have Henderson second bench because we're getting to the end of the season now, so it doesn't really matter how much money we have on the bench, and obviously you can just set up your squad to just have doublers. So I would say Raya and Henderson are the 2 if you're on wildcard. If not, then you don't really need to be using a transfer, because I wouldn't be using a transfer with 4 game weeks left on a goalkeeper, that is for sure. So into the defenders, and at number 1 we've got Nico O'Reilly, the out of position midfielder who's been classified as a defender. So I think he has to be number 1 given the fact that Manchester City not only have a double but also don't net blank for the rest of the season. So I think he's a shoo-in into anyone's team. Then Gabriel, just because of course we know what he's made of. He can do, he gets clean sheets, he's a set piece threat, he can get assists as well, so definitely. But then there's Munoz, which is actually quite interesting because I don't think I would start him this week, but given the fact that they have a double, I think you just have to, you have to make your own luck. And Munoz is obviously the most dangerous defender in the entire game in terms of his ceiling. He can score, he can get DEFCON sometimes as well, so definitely up there. And then I've got Saliba, which I wouldn't usually say, but I think given the fact that Arsenal's attack don't have the best picks, of course Saka's not really started the game for Arsenal. Eze isn't injured, but he came off the bench in the Atletico game today, which obviously just happened today. So I think it's just best to go in on the defence really and just hope for some clean sheets, which is probably the foundation that Arsenal are going to build on anyway to win the Premier League. Probably won't be wanting to score too many goals apart from when they play against Burnley, which I do think Gyökeres might be a good differential. I did mention that he might be a good triple captain. I'm not sure I'd back against Haaland, to triple captain Haaland, but I still would go there as it is Game Week 37. Then there's Chris Richards, who's just a nice cheap option. There is Lacroix as well, but I don't think he's really worth the extra. I think that 0.7 million, so I'll just go for him. Into the midfielders, and despite the double, we still do have Bruno number 1 just because I think he's the best captain. Well, I think he's the best captain on this list anyway. So I am kind of weighing up going against Haaland. Of course, Haaland's away to Everton this week, and Bruno's going to be hosting Liverpool. I do think I might go for Bruno because Bruno at home, he just keeps returning. And Haaland in big games, especially in big away games, not too impressive, if I have to be honest. And I don't think Everton will be an easy game either. So yeah, we've got Bruno number 1. But Cherki's here instead of a certain Semenyo, mainly because Semenyo's blanked I think 4 game weeks in a row now, and he's not even just blanking, he's just not looking good on the eye test, whereas Cherki is looking good on the eye test. I actually looked at the data. Cherki's had more double-digit returns than Semenyo this season, so not even in the last season, in the last 4 game weeks actually. So yeah, Jurgis had more double-digit returns in the last 4 game weeks than Semenyo's had since he joined City. So yeah, I'd be going for Jurgis for sure. Then we've got Okafor here, but just because of a bit of a punt, because why not? I will be on wildcard, so you know, when you have Burnley at home, I think you just have to attack that. And then there's Morgan Rogers, who is hosting Tottenham, which is not the easiest fixture, but they're away to Burnley next week. Obviously, the minutes might be managed, but as we know, Emery loves Morgan Rogers, so maybe his minutes will be fine. And then we've got Pascal Gross, which is, I wasn't sure who to put here because there is Hinchelwood as well, who's actually getting the XG. Well, he's getting the chances, and obviously he scored most recently. But Gross's floor is just so high. Like, he takes all the set pieces, he gets DEFCON. So I guess it'll come down to budget really. But I think Gross is here just because he's probably the more reliable pick. And into the forwards, I mean, I think I've said this every week of the Verified Watch List this season, but the forwards just this year, just I don't know if it's this generation or if it's just the league, but the forwards just are so few and far between in terms of the options. I mean, there's Haaland, he's be back, but everyone owns Haaland already. I guess not everyone owned Thiago, and I was even considering not owning him, and then I saw how many chances he missed against Manchester United, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going against that, especially when he's hosting West Ham. And then there's Calvert-Lewin. Maybe he should be higher, but I was looking at his history. He's only scored a penalty in the last 9 game weeks. So if you want a punt on the Burnley fixture for Leeds, Okafor's the one I'm going for. But I guess Calvert-Lewin by default is good, but I just don't really rate him. And then there's Watkins as well. Obviously, he can go off random times, but I think his minutes are more at risk than Morgan Rogers because obviously there's Tammy Abraham now. So, but you know, Burnley in game week 36, hard to ignore that. And then there's Welbeck, who's very interesting because obviously you wouldn't really play him at Newcastle even though they've been terrible this season. But hosting Wolves, or Wolves that are already down, and you know, Brighton technically are fighting for Europe, you might be going there. Why not? As you'll see in the wildcard draft. So into the wildcard draft, and as mentioned, my wildcard is active, and I actually won't have time to do a team selection video this week because I'm actually going to be away. But I'm going to just want to talk through what my current strategy is, and I think this is actually what's in my current team anyway. So this is what I'm currently thinking. It's to be triple Arsenal with Raya, Gabriel, and Saliba, then of course the triple Palace and the triple City for their double. Yeah, just because you just have to attack the doubles, because why not? And then of course next week we would bench boost as well. So this is the current thinking. The thing, I've just seen that Okafor is actually now a bit of a doubt given what happened in the FA Cup final, so semi-final. So we'll have to monitor that one as well. But I do think this is pretty much it. If Okafor's out, I guess I'll just swap him in for Calvert-Lewin and get someone else in. Maybe just get Hinchelwood, get a triple up on Brighton, but I don't really need to do that really. So yeah, this is the current team. Of course, I will update the final team before the deadline, which is on Friday. But this is what I'm currently working with. What do you think? If you're on wildcard, you know, what does your wildcard look like at the moment for GameWeek 35? Do you think triple Arsenal is a bit boring? Do you think it's a bit risky? Because of course, one goal can ruin 3 of my starting 11, which is, you know, over 30% of my team. So. Or do you think Arsenal will just squeeze out the clean sheets? You know, let me know in the comments. But this is the team. Thank you for watching. And yeah, wish me luck. I've got the wildcard active this time, so there won't be any minus 72 hits for anyone that's trying to make that joke. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll speak soon.